Okay, and we were deleted off of Facebook.
Oh no.
So, wait, actually, no. I can manually edit that. Cool. Remove. All right. Remove. Okay. Well, we are live on. Yeah. Hey everyone. Sorry about all the technical difficulties that we've had. My computer crashed, and I don't have an answer for it. But hey, we are live and we are going for a special edition of LNC or Libertarians at Large for more than just the fact that my computer crashed. So, so how was everyone's holidays? How was yours, Laura and Valerie?
Mine was great. Had a great time. My oldest kids and granddaughter came down and stayed with us for a few days, and Santa was good to us, and all was well.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yourself, Valerie?
Yeah, it was really quiet. We traveled for Thanksgiving, so we chose to stay put for Christmas, and so it was just the 6 of us. It was real nice and cozy, and it snowed a little bit one of the days, or a couple of the days actually. Not on Christmas, which it ended up being like 60 degrees and raining, and so we couldn't even go outside to play with the new toys. But yeah, it was nice. That's nice. I love Christmas now more that I have kids, because it's just so fun to see how excited they are, and they're like, a shirt, yay!
When they get older, it's the underwear and socks that's really exciting.
Oh. No, but I have to say my holidays were frantically busy yet wonderful all at the same time. So it was really nice. It was really, really nice. It was different. It is not the standard holiday that any of us are used to, but it was nice. It was really, really nice.
It's a good change of pace, something different.
Oh, different is definitely the way to put it. There's no way around that one. While we're talking, because I shared the Facebook link to everywhere so everyone could view, but because of the technical difficulties, we had a 10-minute delay, and if you start your live broadcast by more than 10 minutes late, Facebook deletes the links. Oh. So all of our fans watching on Facebook think that we're just non-existent, and in fact, actually, we're going on YouTube. So that makes it interesting. So I'm trying to post out the link for our viewers to see that. So it's been a slow news week, right? So what's your initial takes on the events of the last 36 to 48 hours?
Rock, paper, scissors. Who's going to go first, Valerie?
I'll go first because I'll keep it brief-ish, I hope.
Is that what you're saying? Something about?
Is there anything that's brief about this?
No, there's really not. It's this is while we were waiting for you to come back, Laura and I were talking, and I saw something on Twitter, and it was 2016 voters saying, well, how bad can it be? 2021. Do the insurgents storming the Capitol realize that there's a plague demolishing the lands? And it's like, yeah, a lot has happened in the last 4 years, 4.5 years. And it's hard to say or articulate anything about this because
right.
There's so many pieces, and there's so many people divided on things. The bottom line is, there should have been, and I'm not a bootlicker saying this, there should have been more security because this was an attack on the democratic process of securing the votes. It wasn't like, any anything else. So, they had more security protecting the Robert E. Lee statues that were torn down over the summer. So it's discouraging to American citizens that this happened. It's also super embarrassing. Just what were they going to do? And I keep hearing like, oh, we just wanted an audit. Like, I'm sorry, Jim Bob, nobody's going to let you see what the vote totals are or let you touch any of the papers because this is all certified and classified. There's no evidence of fraud. None of this needed to happen, but we've had a president that has spent 4 years leading up to this moment. And frankly, I'm not even sure if this is the first time this is going to happen before the transfer of power. So
Right.
I feel like I'm kind of rambling and going in different directions, but there's a lot going on here. And so I think we will probably touch on all of it before 9 o'clock.
We were talking earlier, Eric, before your computer fritzed out on you. We were talking a little bit about, one of my fears, and that's just, and it seems very simplistic, and maybe superficial. But my worry is that the seats of government around the country become less accessible. I mean, they're already growing in terms of being tough to get into.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to become less accessible over time because of the security concerns. We know it's already tough to get into the U.S. Capitol. When I was in high school 40 years ago, you go to Washington D.C. and you could walk in the front door and wander around. I mean, there was modest security, but it really wasn't that tough. I mean, the big deal was the pictures. When the kids would go to visit their congressman, they'd take you out on the steps, and you'd have this lined up picture out on the steps, and it was easy. It's not going to happen anymore. And certainly not in Washington, D.C. When I was in the legislature here in Nebraska, we've got a very, very accessible Capitol. I mean, we have no security to speak of. We've got 4 doors. You can go inside any 4 of them. Any person from can just walk in. We've got state patrol officers and Capitol security who are kind of wandering, but you don't go through, you don't until you go up to the Supreme Court room. You don't go through any sort of in any sort of metal detectors or anything like that. And so, but when I was in the legislature, there was an effort to close down a couple of the entrances and increase security. And some of us just said, no, this is the people's house. Well, maybe it won't be anymore. And maybe other buildings are going to move away from that faster than we'd like to think.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an exceptionally valid point, that this is going to give an impetus or a reason or rationale to move government away from the hands of people. And it's scary. It really is, because if the people aren't involved in their government, or it's more difficult for people to be in their government, what's going to encourage them to be part of their government? And it's a dangerous time that we're living in because of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this happens at the national level, but at the state level, it was very easy for somebody to come in and testify in committee hearings. We have committee hearings on everything. Every bill gets a hearing. We don't have any control over the committee chairs don't have any control over what gets heard. You have a hearing on everything. And
Right.
So we had a lot of people wandering into our building at different times. And it was never a problem. But people will become, like whenever anything like this happens, people get nervous. And the question is, when you get a critical mass who get nervous enough to say, okay, enough's enough, it's time for us to do X. And I fear that we're getting there.
Yeah, like we're going to start having to take our shoes off to go into the State House.
Yeah.
And things like that. Yeah. I mean, that also is focused on what libertarians kind of try and tell everybody. Local politics is where a lot of stuff is going to be happening more. And so maybe the state house isn't going to be as accessible, but your town councils and stuff is where hopefully people can still get into and still make an impact while they can.
Yeah, but even I don't know what it's like in your part of the world. Even in Nebraska, a lot of the county, if there's a court, if there's a so we have a county courthouse in my county that has 10,000 people, right? I mean, it's not very big, but they have now security. When we first moved here, there were 2 or 3 doors everybody could walk in. Now there's 1 door that the public can walk in, and it's secured with a deputy and a metal detector, and you go through it. When you go to pay your taxes, which I find it a great irony, when I go to pay my property taxes or I gotta go through security in order to write a check. It's
Oh my gosh, not ours, no.
Well, and there are other things about the events that really just kind of irk me or bother me. Like CNN was bragging earlier today that because of the riots, they had the highest ratings they've ever had, even higher than 9/11. Yay! And I'm like, is this something you should be bragging about? If you want to make that as a comment 2 weeks from now, great. But now and it really bothers me. And then, like Jim Cooper, he's a U.S. House representative, a Democrat from Tennessee, and he's going on and on about how the D.C. Capitol Police, he believes, are complicit and complying with the rioters. So, I mean, again, we're screaming fake news at Trump and the Trumpicans and all of that, but then the Democrats are doing the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And is this going to fix anything? Is this going to solve anything? Is this going to allow the country to heal and move forward? And we're not asking ourselves those questions, and we're just prattling off and having, in my opinion, verbal diarrhea, making the entire situation worse.
In the period between the election and yesterday, I've watched more national news than I had probably in the 5 years previous. I just don't watch it. I had not watched CNN forever, but because we don't have cable anymore and I can get CNN on Hulu and it's the first one that comes up, right? I was watching it, and I was, my husband and I were talking about this last night. I was aghast. I thought Fox News was bad, and it is, but CNN is awful. I mean, they don't even, there's no even pretense of objectivity anymore. And so, there is probably no true news anymore. And that's pretty sad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Streaming the DC NBC network local news. So it was, the people that I grew up with who I'm like, how are you still on here? But but all it is, and not the news, all it is everywhere are people making excuses for events that happened.
Yeah.
This is okay because, or this should have happened already because, and no, what kind of cuckoo land are we living in where this is an acceptable kind of thing that happened? We're not fighting the revolution here. We are, at that point, you are trying to either give us a dictator or put us back into a monarchy. And there's no excuse for that at all.
Here's my first question, though. So we've got 13 days until the inauguration. And the Democrats are talking about impeaching Trump again. Mm-hmm. What's your take on it? Should they move forward? Should they verbally lambast him? But what is the right course of action? Is the impeachment the right course of action? What do we do?
Valerie, you can go first.
I think they should have done the 25th Amendment yesterday. He was inciting violence. I mean, Twitter is a private company, or it's not something that needs to allow free speech. So locking his account made some people mad, but he was inciting violence. That's treason. Like, that should have been it. He's delusional right now. He was completely absent, saying nothing, and then comes out and says, "Oh, we love you." Right? Like, what on earth? Like, one of the police officers died. I don't know if anybody heard that. So 4 people died in this riot yesterday. And that blood is on his hands, honestly. So they should have done that. If that's not happening, I don't know, like, if there's a timeline that they have to do it in a matter of, he's done something else crazy that we don't know about because we've been talking here. But otherwise, yeah, impeach him. Like, just don't get him out of there. Make a stand up for the people of the United States. You can't do this. And I'm sorry, I'm so upset about all of this because it's just so bizarre.
Yeah, I would have preferred.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah, I would have preferred the invocation of the 25th Amendment, given that it could have happened now.
Yeah.
It could have happened, immediately. And they could have, while it doesn't make him ineligible, and that actually doesn't remove him from office, it just removes his from power. It would have allowed things to calm down over the next 13 days. Here's my fear with impeachment, which I know that some in Congress are talking about. They can't do it fast enough.
Right.
In order to go through the process, he's still in control while they're going through the process. If we think that a year ago he was out of control during this, what would he be like during the last 12 days of his administration while they're trying to impeach him? I mean, it'd go faster. Obviously, they could make it go somewhat faster, but let's say that there's still 2 or 3 days before they can even get to the point of having a vote on removal. He could do a lot of damage, while he's still in power. So I don't know. I wish the best of all worlds from my standpoint at this point is that he would resign. He won't, but that would be the best. Yeah. He would just resign, and while he should probably be prosecuted for something, I think that part of the deal could be resign now, and Pence pardons you for anything. You go off to Palm Beach and live quietly for the rest of your life. It's sort of like Richard
Nixon. So what you're saying is he should pull a Nixon.
Yeah. And that would be the ideal. I don't think he'll do it.
No,
but he doesn't have it in him.
No, he's too egomaniac to do that.
But that would be my first choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the best first choice. But like you said, it's not going to happen.
So Valerie, do you know anybody in Virginia? Did you see that people are asking about if there are any elected libertarians in Virginia?
Well, there are some city council people, but not anyone that has an L next to their name.
Right. I think there's a Virginia Beach city councilor that.
But here's the comment I've been getting
nonpartisan
all day long. How can I register with the Libertarian Party? Well, I'm glad you asked, because at the bottom there's a scroll bar that I am not going to turn off for the entire program, because this literally has been the question on so many people's minds. How do you register for the Libertarian Party? And you go to lp.org/join, and you can join the party. And that is absolutely vital, which actually is a great lead-in to my next question. Where does the Republican Party go from here? I mean, obviously, look at that.
There we go. We got one that just joined.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Will. Welcome, Will. I'm glad to see that you joined, and I look forward to working with you. Yeah, where does the Republican Party go from here? Is there somewhere the Republican Party can go from here?
I mean, they're fractured. They're so fractured right now. They are not, they are Trump's party, and they are people who are trying to hang on and kind of.
I see this going three ways. I see the old guard Republicans, I see the Liberty Republicans, and I see the Trumpicans, and they're all going to head in different directions.
Yes. They're so fractured right now.
Yeah, I don't know what happens with the Republican Party. I think, and the problem is that even many of the so-called Liberty Republicans and the old guard, many of them stuck with Trump until the last moment.
Yeah,
and so they're, I think that they're damaged, and they lack a level of credibility. I was shocked. I finally watched Lindsey Graham's speech. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. Like, oh, well, okay, Lindsey. little too late, but.
Oh my God, that was entertaining. Okay, yeah. Oh.
So, I think that the Republican Party has problems, and I think, whether they can grow out of it, I don't know. I've still got friends in the Republican Party, and I just shake my hands. Yeah, shake my head. It's like, I don't know where you guys are coming from anymore. I mean, this is not, this is not what I thought you were all about.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, so, a lot of that was, job security, because he was such a just violently gross and manipulative president that if anybody stepped out of line, he's talking crap about them on Twitter and just basically destroying them. And like what Jeff Flake, that's a good example. He was my senator when we were in Arizona. As a libertarian, I actually liked him as a senator. He usually voted the way I would want him to vote. And then he started standing up against Trump. And then who did they get? That goofball, that conspiracy theorist, Martha McSally, right? And it's like, this is what they have now. And then Arizona flipped to blue because they were sick of that kind of just all the garbage that came along with the Trump presidency and his dirty hands on everything. So yeah, the Republican Party, if they can survive this, it would be pretty crazy, but they've got a lot of rebuilding to do after this.
It would be very impressive if the Republican Party can actually pull this out. I don't see a clear path for them to do it right now.
I think a lot depends, quite frankly, on whether or not Trump still gets to tweet. Because
he doesn't. His Twitter account has now been
it's back open. It was suspended. Well, as of an hour ago, they had a video up that he had just put up.
Oh, maybe.
So I think they'd let him back in Twitter, on Twitter, not on Facebook, but on Twitter.
No, I know Facebook and Twitter stopped him from posting for a couple of hours. Then Facebook banned him indefinitely after they reinstated his account. And I thought Twitter had done the same, but I guess not. Okay.
Yeah, I just saw something on Twitter, and I think that it's his video. It's a video where he is, it was kind of funny, actually, because it was yeah. I mean, it was sort of like he was almost conceding. But claiming credit for sending the National Guard in yesterday, and we're all about law and order, and there will be a smooth transition on January 20th, and it's like, oh, okay, little too late. But I think that if he's still able to tweet, and if he doesn't get shoved into a cave somewhere where he can't see the light of day, I think the more likely thing that we're going to see from him is he's going to leave on the 20th, and on the 21st he announces for president in 24, and he starts raising money and goes out and does these massive, and he keeps people stirred up. I mean, that's my great fear.
Well, the most interesting thing, and I don't know how this is going to play out now, but there has been now put forward an FCC license for Trump TV for cable television.
Oh, great.
I know. Like, that's what we need. 24 hours a day of Trump. I mean, it would basically be CNN too, wouldn't it? But, but at least they have weather on CNN, don't they?
Interviews with that guy with the horns.
Yeah. Every news station was carrying the guy with the horns. I'm like, wow. It's just like, oh my God.
But you were wearing your mask now, don't you?
He's going to have their 3-hour segment between 1 and 4 a.m.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's poorly
so the next question is, does this help the Democrats? Like, did the Democrats get something out of this?
No.
No, I don't think so. It's sad, but it doesn't. No, it just, everyone's like, yeah, we kind of knew this was gonna happen, but not in this scale. But like, we've been saying this, he's crazy for 4 years. They've been saying he's crazy for 4 years, and the only people that have been like, oh, he's totally fine, are the Republicans. So yeah, everyone's just like, we told you so.
Well, and I think that the problem is that there's still a significant number of people out there who think that the Democrats cheated, and so I don't see how they're helped. Actually, I think there's a great potential for libertarians as a result of this. I mean, I think that this is a great moment for us to show that we're sane, and that we actually care about the country and about the people in the country and liberty. And if we can do that over the next couple of years, we're going to see some real wins.
Yeah.
So actually, you kind of fast forwarded to the next question. But does this help the Libertarian Party?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I had a guy on my Facebook page today who I've known for quite a while, who had been kind of an independent Republican. He says, I'm switching my party registration today.
Yeah. I would not be surprised within the next 90 days if we see state legislators around the country changing their party to Libertarian.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised at all, because the Republican Party is going to only get more toxic from this point.
There are some Republicans out there who I think are embarrassed by what happened yesterday. In fact, they're beyond embarrassed. They're aghast, and it may have taken, it took them a lot more than it took me, to make the switch. But I do think that, they finally decided, okay, this is not my party anymore. And I can't abide by what this is all about. And, it'll be interesting to watch. I told my friends here in Nebraska, because we do register by party, I said, watch the voter registration on February 1st, because we do monthly reports. And I said, I bet we go up.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, there's very few that are hanging on and doubling down. Like Josh Hawley, he lost his book deal, and then he's like, what about my First Amendment rights? I'm like, that's not how that works. That's not how it works. That's literally not how the First Amendment works. You can't just act like this and then expect your publisher to be like, oh yeah, sure, we'll still give you money to put this book out, you crazy lunatic. No.
So are there any other winners? Are there anybody else out there that can actually claim the craziness that occurred in Washington, D.C. yesterday as a win?
Well, I think that we're the most direct winners, but I think there's a lot of minor parties who can make the case, and I think we the less, not the two old parties, other parties, third parties, whatever we want to call them.
Yep.
I think that there are other parties out there who can make the case that our system is so irretrievably broken, that we need more choices, and we need a competitive party system that includes others. Not just the R's and the D's, but the L's and the G's and, whoever else, that you need to have 4 or 5 parties that can provide a real choice and a moderating influence for the extremes that the other 2 parties have moved to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I wasn't thinking about other political parties, but the Constitution Party is definitely going to absorb a lot of the more conservative Republicans. And, that'll be good for them. That'll be good for us. Because ballot access, hopefully that'll trickle down into some changes there. Because
I don't think the American political system has seen. First of all, the polarization, I don't think we've seen since the 1850s. And the political party divide or the creation of new parties, I don't think we've seen since the 1840s. When the Whig Party was really starting to come apart. And it's so interesting. I mean, this is going to be a time that political scientists and political theorists are going to be studying. And unfortunately, there are some really dark periods of this political world right now. But 100 years ago, people are still going to be studying 2016 to 2024, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. It's really, really amazing.
Look at that. El Gregorio.
Yeah, I was just reading that as I was finishing up my statement. I think that's great. I've been a libertarian for 5 years now, and now I want to work harder to put a libertarian candidate in the White House. That's where they belong. That is where they belong.
That's right.
But
also work to get your folks locally.
Exactly.
Work to get folks in your city councils and your county boards and your state legislators, because the more we've got there, the more of a farm team we have. I always refer to that farm team. You have to be, if you get people in place, elected locally, then when opportunities open up, they're able to, show that they can actually govern as they start running for other offices, and they've got a base of support.
Oh, absolutely. Totally agree. I mean, even the Republican Party, the first elected official they ever had under the Republican ticket was dog catcher. Yeah. So, hey.
And then they got a president, right?
And then they got a president 4 years later. So, they were a quick grower. But,
right.
I mean, it was the 18 so,
people.
Yeah, right. Is there a solution to the political divide that we see in this country right now? Or what is the solution? Obviously, there is a solution, but what is that solution? Because obviously, we need to move forward, we need to grow, and we need to heal.
I think we, as our party, needs to continue to be positive messaging, and move away from what the Republicans had been doing for the last 4 years of doom. And did you guys see that commercial for Donald Trump with the lady driving in the minivan, and then all of a sudden, these rioters are knocking on her window, and this is what's going to happen if Joe Biden's the president. So the lesser of two evils kind of thing magnified. But how are we better than the lesser of two evils, and what are we going to do to improve your lives? I don't know, is that the solution to fix everything, to fix this divide? But it's been a very negative last 4 years.
And we also had a comment from Father Richard. I do apologize, sir, but it's been one heck of a day today, and I'm usually in a shirt and tie, or at least a button front shirt on the show. And I am slumming it today in a t-shirt. And thank you for holding my feet to the fire on that.
I have a dress on.
Yeah,
I do.
But I do apologize, and thank you for calling me out on that.
Well, and I think that the father understands that an evening talk show is different than a convention, and I've been to LNC meetings with you guys, and we dress up for those.
Oh yeah, I'm always in a 3-piece suit for those.
Yeah,
best.
Yeah.
So obviously, it was the Trumpicans who were rioting. They were the ones who stormed Congress. They were flying Trump flags. They ripped down the U.S. flag flying over the Capitol and put up a Trump 2020 flag, which how that's patriotic, I don't know, but whatever. But then a pipe bomb arrived at the RNC.
Mhm.
The DNC and LPHQ have been closed since yesterday, approximately 4 p.m. Is this the beginning of a backlash movement from Democrats, or are we seeing something completely different? What's your opinion? Because nobody knows where this bomb came from. All we know is that a pipe bomb, a live pipe bomb, was thrown through the windows of the RNC yesterday. So
Yeah,
everything is speculation, obviously.
yeah, everything is speculation, and you could have had people who decided to make a stink,
Mhm.
and cause a problem. You may have people who are upset because some Republicans didn't support the president enough. There's all sorts of possibilities, and it's just speculation. Um, but that then there was the truck or whatever it was that had a whole bunch of Molotov cocktails.
Oh, yeah.
There were obviously people who were there ready to do damage.
Yes.
Now
They had gas masks with them.
yeah.
So they knew that they were going to be fighting tear gas. I mean,
Yeah.
this was planned. This was premeditated. There's no way around that one.
Yeah. No, because we walked with the a Black Lives Matter protest here in Manchester, and I had on flip-flops and like a cloth mask, and I because I wasn't thinking like this is going to turn deadly or whatever. I wasn't coming to start a fight, and I didn't believe that anybody there was starting. So and it was fine. I think it's clearly speculation that it was an anti-establishment Trump supporter, and because the way the Trump movement has gone, it's Trump and then the Republican Party. So it's a cult and then the rest of the party. So I think it was sending a message that way.
Well, and I think that the flag over the Capitol is probably the most one of the most dangerous things that you see, because what it signifies. It signifies people that don't care about the party, or not the party nor the country. They care about the man, and they want it's a dangerous thing to see. That I posted something this morning, and I said Donald Trump isn't the answer, and Joe Biden isn't the answer, and Joe Jorgensen isn't the answer. We as people have to be better. We're the answer. To the problems in our democracy, in our country, and we have to fix it.
Yes, somebody gave me a quote the other day, and I wrote it down. Do well by doing good.
Yeah,
it's Adam Smith.
Now that you're mentioning that, I have to pull something up that one of our fellow LNC members wrote yesterday, and I thought it was phenomenal. I'm just going to have to pull that up real quick. And I didn't have it queued, so it's going to take a second. No, it was, and I want to get it right, so I'm not going to, as it's making all sorts of dings and dongs here.
You need to get a new computer for.
Actually, the funny thing is, I have a brand new one sitting downstairs, but because I also do all my work on this, I have to. It's a long process of migrating everything over. Francis Wendt said this. LNC Region 1 representative.
Francis is the one who gave me that quote from Adam Smith also.
Oh, really? Nikolai Machiavelli said the ends justify the means, but that is not the case. Because when violence is the answer, you are asking the wrong question. Yep. I just thought that was so profound. I mean, Francis definitely has some amazing quotes, and I was just like, that's it. I love that quote. I am stealing it and using it everywhere. Because I mean, we are libertarians. The founding principle is the non-aggression policy, or what we always call as the NAP or NAP. And libertarians talk about NAP all the time, and no, we don't want sleepy times.
But those are nice.
Well, but no, it's exceptionally important that and that's one of the reasons why libertarians really do abhor what happened yesterday, is because this violates the very core tenet of the Libertarian Party. It is a non-aggression principle that we want to take over by everyone agreeing with us and not using force. And I think that is absolutely imperative.
Yes.
Well, and it's important for us to remember that when we ask people to join, if you go to our website and we ask people to join, one of the things that we ask is, sign me up as a member of the Libertarian Party. To validate my membership, I certify that I oppose the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals. I mean, that is, fundamental to libertarians.
Yep.
And to those who are joining us. So, does everyone sign that? No. Well, there's a lot of people who identify as libertarians who are not members. But if you are a member of the party, you denounce political. You denounce force as a means of achieving your ends.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, Erlin Rose asked the question, and any idea what the goal was of the people who stormed the Capitol building? And for all intents and purposes, from my opinion, it was to delay or cancel the ratification of the Electoral College vote. They thought they could turn it over. And
if that didn't happen, then Nancy Pelosi would be the interim president. So, they really weren't thinking this through.
No, there was
significantly worse.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a Biden fan in any way, shape, or form, solely on the fact that we have 40 years of failed legislation that has come out of his office for being in the Senate.
Yeah.
But Nancy Pelosi is even worse.
You talk about a constitutional crisis.
Yes.
The whole idea of extending the period of time before you certify things, and the Constitution's very clear that at noon on January 20th, the one term expires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you don't have somebody to take their place, well, yes, I guess technically Nancy Pelosi that raises a whole new set of issues, because she wasn't elected president, so she is next in line. But she has to resign from the House then, because you can't be a member of. So then would she leave the speakership to become president for a couple of weeks? I mean, then you end up with, I don't know, whoever the president pro tem is going to be. Right now, it's Chuck Grassley, who's like 90 years old, from Iowa. But I don't know who it'll be.
Well, actually, according to the laws of succession, because there is no seated president, there is no seated vice president, she has to become the next president. She's not given the option to become the president. She is the next president.
Well, maybe we messed up by letting them not delay it.
Because I don't think you can refuse the presidency under the laws of succession.
I bet you could.
Under duress.
I bet you could. I mean, then it just goes to the next person.
Well, luckily, we've never gotten there to figure it out.
So I heard there was another Stop the Steal rally on the 16th. Did you guys hear this?
No.
Oh, there's nonstop rallies. I mean, yesterday's rally was already day 2. The rallies actually continued today, obviously much more peacefully.
Yeah.
But I mean, what happened in Washington, D.C. fully eclipsed everything that happened in Atlanta yesterday. Atlanta had armed protests and gunfire in the streets as well. But because obviously they didn't go and try to take over any government buildings, never even made it to the news cycle. So, you know, I mean, it's amazing. It's just the civil unrest in this country is on every side is really disheartening.
Yeah. If we were a foreign country, the United States would be invading us right now to try and install their own dictator.
Did you see some of the
I have a
comments?
lot of family in former Soviet republics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are looking at us in disbelief, getting calls from overseas going like, what's going on? What is this real? I mean, is this something Hollywood's doing, or, you know, all of that? Because nobody understands, or no one can even fathom an unstable United States. And the instability of the United States is already having a financial impact. You know, we lost almost 2.5% of the U.S. dollar to the Chinese yuan in one day.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
A 2% move does not happen, ever. Not like that.
Don't look at my 401k.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that is a really scary aspect. You are going to see financial ramifications from this. Huge financial ramifications.
Well, did
On
you see
top
some,
of COVID.
On top of everything else.
on top of COVID? Yeah.
Everything else, you are going to see huge financial ramifications.
Did you see some of the comments from some of the world leaders? They had a bunch of them making comments. I mean, Angela Merkel or whatever her name is in Germany, and the French guy, Macron, is that his name? Yeah, Macron. And then, I mean, they were just going around, and you know, and even Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these guys, they can't believe what's happening in the United States. You know, it's like, you know, it's like, okay, we've totally boofed it here. You know,
we've lost so much credibility on a global stand right now. It will take years to recoup what we have lost. It'll take 10 to 20 years to recoup what we've lost.
A generation.
Yeah.
We've probably become France. You know, in terms of sort of that moral leadership.
Yeah.
We aren't. You know, we're still sort of a first world country, but we don't have the same. We may never recover kind of the standing that we had of sort of the world leader. Maybe that's okay. I don't know. You know, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I don't think the world needs a single leader at all, and I don't think the United States should be the world leader.
Maybe help us.
We are no better or worse than anybody else. But it is,
of course,
9:00. Oh no, Laura, go on.
I was just saying, but of course, as a political scientist, I have to note that if there's not a leader, I mean, nature abhors a vacuum.
Yes.
You know, and so if it's not us, you know, somebody else. Who is it? Somebody else will be the leader. You know, we're probably moving into a new. Maybe time for China to step up, huh?
Which is also, that's still a scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. But I mean, that we could be moving into a new paradigm with, you
know. Claudius Drusus Caesar, right? So digging a little bit far back in history, but every single he theorized that as the code of law of an empire expands to the point where the average citizenry does not understand the law to comply with the law, that civilization will collapse. And if you look at how fast and furious we are putting out laws in the United States right now, we may follow his prediction. Yeah. And it's a scary, scary thought.
Yeah. We got another member.
Woo-hoo!
Insane Throttle. I don't know who he is, but why not?
There you go. Welcome to the party.
Yes.
Best party in the United States. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And yes, I did intend the double entendre. So again, a phenomenal week. Originally, I had planned on going through the omnibus bill today, but obviously Trump happened, so that got trumped. Cheesy dad jokes and everything.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Any announcements? Any final words?
No, I mean, let's just keep our fingers crossed that we have a slow, like we can do our news quiz next week and just be a little bit slow. I feel like the news lately has been bang, 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 bang with so much happening.
Well, actually, Aaron,
you know what's going to be on next week's news quiz, right?
Oh, all of this.
Right.
Aaron Adams shared a meme. I believe it was Aaron Adams. That I have now enjoyed my 7-day free trial of 2021. I would like to cancel.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does feel like this is and Joe Bishop Henchman on New Year's Day shared welcome to the first of Trumpember, the 13th, the new 13th month of 2020, and it is exactly that. It feels that way. It's kind of sad. It's kind of depressing, actually.
Yeah, it's like haha, but not haha funny.
Yeah, exactly. Funny, but not haha funny. I like that. I'm going to use that. Until next week, everyone, stay safe. Hopefully the riots don't come to you. And we will see you here next week on another episode of Libertarians at Large. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much, and hopefully no technical difficulties next week. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
And